Welcome to the Network Plus Prepcast, your dedicated audio companion for mastering every objective on the CompTIA Network Plus certification exam. This series is produced by baremetalcyber.com. Welcome to this Glossary edition of the A Plus Prepcast. In this final Glossary installment, we'll examine key acronyms that begin with the letters O through Z. These acronyms span a wide range of critical networking topics, including models, protocols, encryption, virtualization, and system architecture. By mastering these final terms, you will round out your glossary knowledge and enhance your readiness for the Network Plus certification exam. Let's begin with one of the most foundational acronyms in networking. OSI stands for Open Systems Interconnection, a conceptual model developed by the International Organization for Standardization to describe how different networking protocols and systems interact. The OSI model consists of 7 layers: physical, data link, network, transport, session, presentation, and application. Each layer performs specific functions and communicates with the layers directly above and below it. While not all real-world protocols map cleanly to the OSI model, it serves as a valuable reference for troubleshooting and protocol categorization. On the Network Plus exam, familiarity with the OSI model is essential for identifying protocol roles and diagnosing communication issues across layers. OTDR refers to Optical Time Domain Reflectometer, a diagnostic tool used to analyze the integrity and performance of fiber optic cables. It works by sending pulses of light down the fiber and measuring the reflected signals to identify faults, splices, or breaks. OTDR readings help technicians determine the distance to a problem and evaluate signal loss along the cable path. This tool is critical in fiber optic installations and maintenance. On the exam, OTDR may appear in scenarios involving fiber diagnostics or physical layer troubleshooting. OT stands for Operational Technology, a term used to describe hardware and software that detects or controls physical devices and processes. OT systems are commonly found in industrial environments such as manufacturing, utilities, and energy production. These systems are increasingly connected to IT networks, which introduces security concerns due to traditionally lax protections in OT environments. As a result, there is growing emphasis on segmenting OT networks and applying cybersecurity controls. On the exam, OT may be referenced when discussing non-traditional networking environments or industrial control systems. PaaS means Platform as a Service, a cloud computing model that provides developers with tools and infrastructure to build, test, and deploy applications. Unlike infrastructure as a service, where users manage their own operating systems, PaaS abstracts away the underlying infrastructure, offering runtime environments, databases, and application frameworks. This enables faster development and reduces overhead for managing hardware or system updates. PaaS is commonly used for web and mobile application development. On the exam, knowing the differences between PaaS, IaaS, and software as a service is essential for cloud service model identification. PAT stands for Port Address Translation, a form of network address translation that allows multiple devices on a private network to share a single public IP address. Each internal device is assigned a unique port number, enabling the router or firewall to keep track of incoming and outgoing sessions. This method conserves IP addresses and supports many-to-one communication. PAT is commonly used in home networks and small businesses to connect multiple devices to the internet. On the exam, PAT is often compared with static and dynamic NAT to test your understanding of address mapping. PCI means Payment Card Industry, most often referenced in the context of PCI DSS, or the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard. This standard outlines security requirements for organizations that store, process, or transmit credit card information. PCI compliance includes practices such as encrypting cardholder data, implementing access controls, and maintaining secure networks. Failure to meet these requirements can lead to financial penalties and data breaches. On the Network Plus exam, PCI may appear in questions involving compliance, regulation, and data protection. PCIe stands for Peripheral Component Interconnect Express, a high-speed expansion bus standard used to connect internal components such as network cards, graphics cards, and solid-state drives to the motherboard. PCIe offers greater bandwidth and performance than older bus technologies like PCI or AGP. It uses lanes X1, X4, X8, or X16 to support scalable throughput. Network interface cards installed via PCIe slots are common in high-performance environments. On the exam, PCIe may be tested in questions about hardware, expansion options, or interface speeds. PEAP means Protected Extensible Authentication Protocol, an authentication method that encapsulates EAP in a secure transport layer security tunnel. It is often used in enterprise wireless networks that require mutual authentication between clients and servers. PEAP helps protect credentials from interception during the authentication process by creating an encrypted channel before user credentials are transmitted. It is commonly used in conjunction with MSCHAP version 2 and a Radis server. On the exam, PEAP may appear in scenarios involving wireless authentication and secure protocol comparison. PGP refers to Pretty Good Privacy, an encryption program that provides cryptographic privacy and authentication for data communication. It uses a combination of symmetric and asymmetric encryption to secure emails, files, and digital signatures. PGP allows users to encrypt messages using a recipient's public key, which only the matching private key can decrypt. It also supports signing messages to verify authenticity and prevent tampering. On the Network Plus exam, PGP is often associated with email encryption and secure communication tools. PKI stands for Public Key Infrastructure, a system for managing digital certificates and public key encryption. It enables secure exchange of information by using a pair of cryptographic keys, one public and one private. PKI involves components such as certificate authorities, registration authorities, and certificate revocation lists. These elements work together to authenticate users and devices in secure communications. On the exam, PKI is a critical concept for understanding encryption, authentication, and secure certificate management. POP3 stands for Post Office Protocol version 3, an older but still used protocol that allows email clients to retrieve messages from a remote mail server. POP3 downloads the emails to the client and typically removes them from the server after retrieval, which means emails are not synced across multiple devices. It operates over port 110 using plaintext and over port 995 when secured with SSL or TLS. While simple and lightweight, POP3 lacks the advanced synchronization and folder support found in newer protocols like IMAP. On the exam, you may be asked to distinguish between POP3 and IMAP in terms of behavior, use case, and ports. PSK means pre-shared key, a method of securing wireless networks where all devices use the same key or password to authenticate. It is commonly used in smaller networks such as home or small office Wi-Fi setups, where centralized authentication servers are not present. PSK-based security is simple to configure but less secure for larger environments due to the risk of key sharing and reuse. It is typically implemented using Wi-Fi Protected Access or WPA in PSK mode. On the exam, understanding how PSK fits into wireless encryption options is important when evaluating authentication methods. QoS stands for Quality of Service, a set of techniques used to manage network resources by prioritizing certain types of traffic. QoS ensures that high-priority services like voice over IP or video streaming maintain low latency and reliable throughput, even under congestion. Methods include traffic shaping, queuing, and marking packets with priority levels using mechanisms like DSCP or 802.1p. QoS is essential in networks that carry a mix of time-sensitive and best-effort traffic. On the Network Plus exam, QoS may appear in questions about performance management and traffic control. RADIUS refers to Remote Authentication Dial in User Service, a centralized protocol used for user authentication, authorization, and accounting. RADIUS servers validate credentials submitted by network clients, such as users connecting to Wi-Fi or VPN services. It typically uses port 1812 for authentication and 1813 for accounting. RADIUS supports centralized credential storage and policy enforcement across multiple network devices. On the exam, RADIUS is often compared with other authentication protocols like TAC ACS+, especially in enterprise access control scenarios. RAID stands for Redundant Array of Independent Disks, a data storage technology that combines multiple physical drives into one logical unit for performance, redundancy, or both. There are several RAID levels, each offering different trade-offs. For example, RAID 0 stripes data for speed but offers no fault tolerance, while RAID 1 mirrors data for redundancy. RAID 5 and RAID 10 are more advanced configurations that balance performance and fault tolerance. On the exam, understanding RAID levels helps in identifying appropriate storage solutions based on performance and data protection requirements. RF stands for radio frequency, which refers to electromagnetic waves used for wireless communication. These frequencies range from about 3 kHz to 300 GHz and are used in technologies such as Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular communication, and radio broadcasting. In networking, RF is critical for wireless signal propagation and plays a role in determining antenna types, signal strength, and interference patterns. Understanding RF principles helps in planning access point placement and diagnosing wireless performance issues. On the exam, RF may appear in questions involving wireless transmission characteristics and spectrum usage. RFID means radio frequency identification, a technology that uses electromagnetic fields to identify and track tags attached to objects. RFID systems consist of readers and passive or active tags that store identification data. In networking contexts, RFID is often used in inventory tracking, access control systems, and asset management. It is important to recognize that RFID operates at various frequency ranges and may be susceptible to interference. On the Network Plus exam, RFID may be referenced in scenarios involving wireless technologies, security, or device identification. RJ-45 refers to Registered Jack 45, a standardized physical connector used primarily for Ethernet networking over twisted pair cabling. It resembles a larger version of the older telephone RJ-11 connector and supports up to 8 conductors. RJ-45 connectors are used with cables such as Cat5e, Cat6, and Cat6a for connecting computers, switches, and other network devices. The connector snaps securely into Ethernet ports, ensuring reliable data transmission. On the exam, you may be expected to identify RJ-45 and match it with its associated cabling types. RSA stands for Reverse Shamir Adelman, a widely used public key cryptographic algorithm that provides secure data encryption and digital signatures. RSA relies on the mathematical difficulty of factoring large prime numbers, making it suitable for secure communication and key exchange. It uses a pair of keys, a public key for encryption and a private key for decryption, to ensure confidentiality and authentication. RSA is foundational to many secure protocols, including SSL and TLS. On the exam, RSA is relevant in encryption topics, certificate-based security, and secure authentication. SaaS means software as a service, a cloud computing model in which users access software applications over the internet. The software is hosted and maintained by a service provider, and users interact with it through web browsers or dedicated client applications. SaaS eliminates the need for local installation, management, and updates, making it a popular choice for productivity tools, email platforms, and collaboration systems. Examples include Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. On the exam, SaaS is one of the key cloud models and is often contrasted with PaaS and IaaS. SAN refers to Storage Area Network, a dedicated high-speed network that provides block-level access to storage devices. Unlike network-attached storage, which operates at the file level, SAN enables multiple servers to access the same storage at the disk level, offering low latency and high performance. SANs are commonly used in enterprise data centers to support virtualization, databases, and transaction-heavy applications. Technologies such as Fiber Channel and IaaS are used to implement SANs. On the exam, understanding the distinction between SAN and NAS is critical in storage architecture questions. SDN stands for Software-Defined Networking, a modern approach to networking that separates the control plane from the data plane. This allows network administrators to manage network behavior programmatically through centralized controllers, rather than configuring each device manually. SDN enables automation, dynamic provisioning, and more efficient use of network resources. It is especially useful in data centers and large-scale cloud environments. On the exam, SDN is often referenced in questions involving virtualization, network automation, and control mechanisms. SFP means Small Form Factor Pluggable, a compact, hot swappable transceiver used to connect networking equipment to fiber optic or copper cabling. SFP modules are commonly used in switches and routers to support different types of media and transmission speeds. They come in various formats such as SFP Plus for 10 gigabit speeds and SFP 28 for 25 gigabit links. The modularity of SFP allows flexible port configurations based on need. On the exam, SFP is relevant in hardware identification, interface compatibility, and fiber optic configurations. SID stands for Security Identifier, a unique value used to identify users, groups, and computer accounts in Windows-based networks. Each object is assigned to SID when created, and it remains consistent even if the object name changes. SIDs are essential for enforcing access control and maintaining permissions across resources. In domain environments, SIDs help maintain consistency and avoid conflicts during migrations or backup. On the exam, SID may be mentioned in access control lists, file permissions, and account management topics. SMB stands for Server Message Block, a protocol used primarily by Windows systems to provide shared access to files, printers, and serial ports over a network. SMB operates at the application layer and allows users to read, write, and manage resources on remote systems. It is often paired with NTLM or Kerberos for authentication. Modern versions of SMB include enhancements such as encryption and improved performance. On the exam, SMB is often included in questions about protocol use, ports, and file sharing services. SMF stands for Single Mode Fiber, a type of fiber optic cable that uses a single light path to transmit data. It is designed for long-distance communication and typically operates with laser-based light sources. SMF has a smaller core diameter, usually around 9 microns, which allows light to travel in a straight line with minimal signal dispersion. This makes it ideal for high-bandwidth applications across campuses, metropolitan networks, or service provider backbones. On the exam, you may be asked to compare SMF with multimode fiber in terms of performance, distance, and use case. SNMP refers to Simple Network Management Protocol, a protocol used to monitor and manage network devices such as routers, switches, servers, and printers. SNMP operates over UDP port 161 and uses a hierarchical structure of management information bases, or MIBs, to organize data. It allows administrators to collect statistics, track performance, and receive alerts from networked devices. Different versions of SNMP offer varying levels of security, with version 3 supporting encryption and authentication. On the exam, SNMP is tested in areas involving network management, device status, and protocol port identification. SOHO means small office or home office, a network environment designed for a limited number of users, typically fewer than 10. These networks often use consumer-grade routers, wireless access points, and multifunction devices. SOHO configurations are simpler than enterprise networks, but still require proper setup of firewalls, wireless security, and device naming. They may also support features like port forwarding or dynamic DNS for remote access. On the exam, you may encounter SOHO in scenarios about basic setup, home networking, or entry-level troubleshooting. SSD stands for Solid-State Drive, a data storage device that uses flash memory to store data electronically with no moving parts. Unlike hard disk drives, SSDs offer faster read and write speeds, lower latency, and greater shock resistance. They are commonly used in laptops, desktops, and servers for improved performance and reliability. SSDs also consume less power and generate less heat than traditional spinning drives. On the exam, understanding the differences between SSD and HDD helps in identifying storage choices for performance-sensitive environments. SSH means Secure Shell, a cryptographic network protocol used to securely access and manage remote devices over an unsecured network. SSH operates over port 22 and supports encrypted command line sessions, file transfers, and tunneling. It is widely used by network administrators to configure routers, switches, and Linux-based systems. SSH replaces older, insecure protocols like Telnet by providing confidentiality and integrity during remote access. On the exam, SSH is important in questions about secure management and remote access protocols. SSL stands for Secure Sockets Layer, a deprecated encryption protocol formerly used to secure communications over networks. It has been replaced by Transport Layer security due to known vulnerabilities in older SSL versions. SSL was commonly used to protect data exchanged between web browsers and servers, ensuring that information such as passwords or payment details remained private. The term SSL is still often used interchangeably with TLS, even when TLS is the actual protocol in use. On the exam, you should be able to differentiate between SSL and TLS in security protocol contexts. STP refers to shielded twisted pair, a type of copper cabling that includes shielding around each twisted pair or around the entire cable to reduce electromagnetic interference. This shielding helps protect data integrity in environments with high electrical noise, such as industrial settings or areas near heavy machinery. STP is more expensive and rigid than unshielded twisted pair, but provides better protection against crosstalk and signal degradation. Proper grounding of the shielding is necessary to maintain its effectiveness. On the exam, you may be asked to choose between STP and UTP based on environmental conditions. STP also stands for Spanning Tree Protocol, a network protocol used to prevent Layer 2 loops in switched Ethernet networks. It operates by identifying a loop-free logical topology and placing redundant paths into a blocking state. If the active path fails, STP can re-enable the backup path to maintain network connections that could otherwise create broadcast storms or MAC table instability. On the exam, it's important to recognize the dual meaning of STP and distinguish between cable type and network protocol. TACACS Plus refers to Terminal Access Controller, Access Control System Plus, a protocol used for centralized authentication and authorization of users accessing network devices. It is often preferred over RADIUS in environments requiring granular command control and full encryption of communication. TACACS Plus operates over TCP port 49 and is typically deployed alongside enterprise-grade equipment. It allows administrators to control what commands users can run on routers or switches. On the exam, TACACS Plus may be tested in comparison to RADIUS and local authentication methods. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol, one of the core protocols of the Internet Protocol Suite. It provides reliable, connection-oriented communication by ensuring that data packets are delivered in order and without duplication or loss. TCP uses mechanisms like three-way handshakes, acknowledgements, and retransmissions to maintain data integrity. It is used by applications where accuracy is critical, such as email, file transfers, and web browsing. On the Network Plus exam, TCP is foundational for protocol comparisons, transport layer behavior, and port usage. TDM refers to time division multiplexing, a method used to transmit multiple signals over a single communication channel by dividing time into separate slots. Each signal is assigned a specific time slice, allowing multiple data streams to share the same medium without interference. TDM is used in digital voice and data transmission systems, including older T1 lines and certain cellular technologies. It contrasts with frequency-based multiplexing techniques used in wireless networks. On the exam, understanding TDM helps in identifying transmission methods and legacy carrier technologies. TKIP stands for Temporal Key Integrity Protocol, an older encryption standard used in wireless networks as part of WPA. TKIP was designed to replace the flawed WEP protocol without requiring new hardware. It introduced per-packet key mixing and message integrity checks to improve security. However, TKIP has since been superseded by AES-based encryption in WPA2 due to vulnerabilities and performance limitations. On the exam, TKIP may appear in wireless encryption comparisons and compatibility scenarios. TLS stands for Transport Layer Security, the successor to SSL, and the current standard for securing communication over networks. TLS uses encryption, authentication, and integrity mechanisms to protect data exchange between clients and servers. It supports features like perfect forward secrecy, certificate-based authentication, and secure cipher negotiation. TLS is widely used in protocols such as HTTPS, IMAPS, and FTPS. On the Network Plus exam, TLS is essential to questions involving secure communication, protocol layers, and encryption best practices. UDP refers to User Datagram Protocol, a connectionless transport layer protocol used when speed is preferred over reliability. Unlike TCP, UDP does not guarantee packet delivery, order, or error correction, making it suitable for applications like video streaming, voice-over IP, and online gaming. UDP is efficient and introduces minimal overhead, enabling fast transmission even under heavy network load. It is commonly paired with protocols such as DNS and TFTP. On the exam, UDP is tested in protocol comparisons and transport layer behavior analysis. UPS means uninterruptible power supply, a backup power device that provides temporary electricity during power outages or fluctuations. UPS systems protect network equipment, servers, and storage devices from unexpected shutdowns, which could cause data loss or hardware damage. They come in various sizes, from desktop models to large rack-mounted units for data centers. Some UPS models also offer surge protection and power conditioning. On the exam, UPS is relevant in business continuity, power management, and physical infrastructure topics. UTM stands for Unified Threat Management, an all-in-one security solution that integrates multiple functions such as firewall, antivirus, intrusion prevention, and content filtering into a single platform. UTM devices simplify deployment and monitoring by centralizing security tools under one interface. They are commonly used in small to medium businesses that need comprehensive protection without managing multiple products. UTM can also provide VPN support and application control. On the exam, UTM may be included in security architecture questions or compared with modular solutions. UTP means unshielded twisted pair, a type of copper cabling used in Ethernet and telephone networks. It consists of pairs of insulated wires twisted together to reduce electromagnetic interference and crosstalk. UTP is easy to install, flexible, and cost-efficient, making it the most common cabling type in local area networks. Common categories include Cat5e, Cat6, and Cat6a, each supporting different speeds and bandwidths. On the exam, you may be asked to compare UTP to shielded alternatives or select the correct category for a given scenario. VLAN stands for Virtual Local Area Network, a method of segmenting network traffic at the switch level to isolate devices based on function, department, or security needs. VLANs reduce broadcast traffic, improve security, and simplify network management. Each VLAN is assigned a unique identifier and can span multiple switches using trunk ports and VLAN tagging. VLANs are configured using 802.1q and often appear in enterprise network design. On the exam, VLANs are essential in questions about segmentation, logical addressing, and switch configuration. VLSM refers to variable length subnet masking, a technique that allows the use of different subnet masks within the same network class. This enables more efficient IP address allocation by tailoring subnet sizes to actual host requirements. VLSM helps reduce address waste and supports route summarization for improved scalability. It is often used in complex network topologies where some segments require more hosts than others. On the exam, VLSM is critical in subnetting, IP planning, and route optimization questions. VPN means Virtual Private Network, a secure method of connecting to a private network over a public network like the Internet. VPNs use tunneling protocols and encryption to protect data in transit and maintain privacy. They are commonly used for remote access, site-to-site connectivity, and bypassing geographic restrictions. Types of VPN include IP security, SSL, and MPLS-based implementations. On the exam, VPN is tested in scenarios involving tunneling, encryption, and remote communication. VTP stands for VLA Trunking Protocol, a Cisco proprietary protocol that propagates VLAN information between switches over trunk links. VTP simplifies VLAN management by distributing configuration changes across a domain automatically. Switches can operate in server, client, or transparent mode, depending on their role in propagating VLAN data. VTP reduces administrative overhead, but must be configured carefully to avoid unintended changes. On the exam, VTP may appear in switch configuration, trunking, or VLAN implementation scenarios. WAN stands for Wide Area Network, a telecommunications network that extends over large geographical distances, often connecting multiple local area networks. WANs use leased lines, fiber optics, satellites, or wireless links to maintain communication across cities, countries, or continents. Common technologies include frame relay, MPLS, and Metro Ethernet. WANs are typically managed by service providers and support enterprise-level connectivity between remote sites. On the exam, WAN is central to understanding network types, topologies, and long-distance communication methods. WEP means Wired Equivalent Privacy, an outdated and insecure wireless encryption protocol once used to protect Wi-Fi networks. WEP uses static keys and weak initialization vectors, making it vulnerable to easy decryption using widely available tools. It has been deprecated in favor of stronger encryption methods like WPA and WPA2. Despite its name, WEP does not provide security comparable to wired networks. On the exam, WEP is often included in wireless encryption comparisons or legacy support questions. WIDS refers to Wireless Intrusion Detection System, a security solution designed to monitor wireless networks for malicious activity or unauthorized devices. A WIDS analyzes traffic, detects rogue access points, and identifies anomalies such as denial of service attacks or spoofing. It operates passively and alerts administrators rather than actively blocking threats. WIDS can be deployed as standalone appliances or integrated into wireless controllers. On the exam, WIDS is tested in wireless security, monitoring, and policy enforcement scenarios. WPA stands for Wi-Fi Protected Access, a security protocol developed to replace WEP and improve encryption for wireless networks. WPA introduced TKIP as an interim encryption method and supported both personal and enterprise authentication modes. It significantly enhanced wireless security but was eventually superseded by WPA2, which uses AES encryption. Devices that support WPA are backward compatible with WEP networks, but are encouraged to use stronger settings. On the exam, WPA is often referenced in wireless configuration and protocol evolution questions. WPA2 is the second generation of Wi-Fi protected access, offering stronger security through the use of advanced encryption, standard encryption. It supports both personal mode with pre-shared keys and enterprise mode with centralized authentication servers. WPA2 introduced mandatory support for CCMP, which ensures both confidentiality and integrity of transmitted data. It remains the standard for securing most wireless networks today, though WPA3 is its successor. On the exam, WPA2 is a high-priority topic in wireless encryption, security configuration, and access control. WPA3 is the latest generation of Wi-Fi protected access, offering enhanced protection for modern wireless environments. It introduces individualized data encryption, improved protection against brute force attacks, and stronger handshake methods such as simultaneous authentication of equals. WPA3 also mandates stronger encryption even in open networks using OWE, or opportunistic wireless encryption. Adoption is increasing in newer devices and access points. On the exam, WPA3 may appear in cutting-edge wireless security comparisons or future-facing protocol questions. XaaS means anything as a service, a general term that refers to the broad range of services delivered over the internet beyond traditional cloud models. This can include services like database as a service, monitoring as a service, and communications as a service. The term emphasizes the flexibility and scalability of cloud infrastructure to support diverse business functions on demand. XaaS allows organizations to reduce capital expenses and increase agility. On the exam, XaaS may be used to describe cloud expansion and service abstraction. ZPI stands for Zero Phase Install, a deployment method or system configuration approach where software updates are installed in a way that does not disrupt existing operations. ZPI minimizes downtime by using mechanisms such as live migration, rollback capability, or redundant systems. It is often associated with enterprise software deployment, firmware upgrades, or mission-critical services. The goal of ZPI is to avoid any service interruption during the installation process. On the exam, ZPI may be referenced in change management, deployment planning, or high availability strategies. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Network Plus Prepcast, your trusted audio guide to the CompTIA Network Plus certification. This episode was produced by baremetalcyber.com. For more cybersecurity podcasts, books, and resources, visit baremetalcyber.com. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Bare Metal Cybersecurity Plus podcast. For more episodes, tools, and study support, visit us at baremetalcyber.com. And before you take the test, make sure to check out the practice questions in the book Achieve CompTIA Security Plus SY0-701 Exam Success by Dr. Jason Edwards. They cover every domain and are a powerful way to lock in your knowledge.